I'm waiting to get the notification. Waiting to get the notification. And boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast today. This is an extreme honor for me to have this guest come give us some information as well as some inspiration. And that is none other than Karriem Muhammad. First of all, assalamu alaikum, bro.
Like Salam, bro. Salam. How you
Yes, sir.
feeling, bro?
Excellent. This is someone who we went to school together, in Chicago at a very young age, and now to see him working in the education field, being a coach, being an artist, and so much more that we're gonna get into. This is just it's thank you. It's mean a lot to me, Kareem, bro. It mean a lot.
Thank you, bro. It's an honor to be here.
Okay, yes, sir. Well, the first thing we want to know is what growing up, speaking of MUI in Chicago, what's some of your what's like your favorite memory of MUI?
Oh man, bro. Favorite memories of MUI, being honest with you, bro, is towards the end, like our sixth, seventh grade year, we played football every day outside. That was probably one of my best memories of MUI.
Okay.
Definitely with the, like you said, like growing up in the nation, the drill competitions, you are DI, you had us in order. So those are some of the best memories, growing up in the nation. And MUI is definitely just a brotherhood, that we had. And a lot of us are still very close to this day. I think that's one of the favorite things I really loved about that.
Okay, excellent. Okay, now growing up, me and you had very similar experiences with our fathers being gone,
Yeah,
moms, our
definitely.
mothers holding it down.
Yes.
What was it like for you growing up? With your dad, being with the Most High Little Far kind of lot.
Man, bro, like that's a very interesting question. And we kind of have these conversations now a lot now. Me and my father, our relationship is a lot better than it was growing up because as you said, a lot of people don't understand that, when our father's in the in the E team, they're with the Honorable Mental Louis Farrakhan, like your father was, every day, that does take a toll with the family, and like I tell my father sometimes, your brother Sultan to the nation, I just want you to be my father,
Yes,
so,
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
it's kind of, it was hard, them always being gone, missing certain celebrations, missing certain childhood memories that we hold dear. But
Absolutely.
I've understood it a lot more growing up, but that what was definitely hard. And I don't know if a lot of people realize how hard that was, on us growing up, not just you, not just myself, but a lot of children of a lot of prominent figures in the nation, what that was like. But it was definitely different. It was definitely different. Sometimes I did get jealous a lot of some of my friends. I went to a public high school. When I actually was going to high school, MUI shut down their high school. So a lot of us branched out and went to Chicago public schools or schools in the suburbs and things like that. So it was a lot of things that we missed out on. We would see, with other parents, and especially with me playing sports,
Yeah.
it's like, and another thing with that was a lot, my father, if you, I don't, I'm pretty sure anybody tuning in probably knows my father, Brother Sultan,
Yeah.
he's a very serious brother, and the same thing in the household. So when it came to playing sports and things like that, he would always support, but he would always let you know that isn't the end game. And when
Yeah.
you're when you're playing high school sports, you're not trying to hear that, so so that was definitely tough. But I will say our relationship is way better than it was growing up as a teenager. And I'm honored for him to be my father, honored to share those experiences. But it definitely was tough. It was tough.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And you can only imagine me trying to explain to my dad I'm going to Notre
Man.
Dame. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm out of here if I'm going pro, boy.
Yeah, and you were good. I remember that. You were
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good, bro. I
Yeah.
remember that.
So and him being like, yeah, but that's sport and play. So it's a trap.
Exactly. Exactly. I was like, man, I just want to go to my game. I just want you in the stands.
Yeah.
I definitely understood that was definitely tough. Even with the music.
Mm.
Myself, Jamel, who is in it, I believe Jamel's back in Atlanta
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We were, we were doing our music
Mm.
as we were in high school at the time. So this is after MUI, but I used to go over his house, used to record, on the
Mm.
karaoke machine, used to do our thing. And I remember sometimes coming home and playing to my father, we were recording, and he's like, man, what is this? You know, so even with that, you know, the just the, like you said, like that's sport, that's play, and that's entertainment, and we have a bigger mission, you know. And I think I think now my father has seen the balance in what I do, and he's been able to kind of see the effect that I have on my community, and kind of see that, hey, you know, it is a way to balance both, you know. So
Absolutely. Crazy. So I didn't know you used to be with Jamel. Y'all went to school together, like rapping and stuff. I didn't know that.
yeah, so we went. So Jamel went to CVS. I went to Bronzeville on 35th. So I used to get dropped off at his house. You know, we had a rap group and everything, man. We were
I didn't know that.
we were locked in. So I used to get dropped off at his house and record and do things like that. And yeah, you know, of course, you know, with our fathers being gone, you know, he wouldn't be there physically for that. Then he'll come back and be like, oh yeah, I heard you was, you know, making music. Let me check you out. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you sure? You know, I don't know if you want to hear this, but you know, and it would be so funny because like in the early years I was because I actually, so I went to high school at 12, and I graduated 15 and turned 16 a couple of months later because of
Mm.
MUI. I was able to skip grades. And, you know, I definitely thank them. I definitely appreciate them for that. So I was rapping at like a very young age. Minister Abdul, he had us doing talent shows and things like
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
was doing it
yeah.
at a very young age. So my father would always hear from other people that I rap. You know, it's like he's not that bad. You know, he's pretty okay. And he'll come back like, let me hear what you got. And then when he
Yeah,
heard,
yeah,
he's like, nah, I don't know about that, brother. I don't know, you know.
yeah.
So it was definitely interesting.
Wonderful. Praise be to Allah. And thank everybody for liking. And we're gonna put it on YouTube. So please like, share, subscribe. Speaking of your music, how can we support you and get to it?
Man, bro, I as of now, I'm on Apple Music now. I have Apple Music and Spotify. My artist name is Reem, so that's Riem. I actually just tapped into that market by me doing music on and off. I was doing music on and off probably since I was about 10, 11, 12 years old, but
Mm.
I've never been consistently doing it. You know what I'm saying? So like I went from one dream to another, you know, a dream deferred. So when I got to high school, it was sports. So I kind of put music to the back a little bit. And then, you know, when I got to college, it was sports for a couple of years. Then I'm like, okay, let me get back into music. And I really didn't do a project until I graduated college. I dropped the project as soon as I graduated. Actually, after my mother passed, I dropped a project, and then I dropped another one last year. Those are actually on SoundCloud and that Piff and things like that. But the projects that I'm doing now that I'm going to release this year is on Apple Music. One single is on Apple Music right now.
Yeah,
But
I heard it and I supported it
yeah,
and it was
appreciate it,
good,
bro.
man.
Thank you, thank you.
No
Yes, sir.
problem. That's it. Okay. Now speaking of your mother, may Allah be pleased, of course.
Thank you, bro. Thank
And
you.
may you know she was an angel and an aunt to many of us.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Um, what could you what does she instill in you that keeps you going now?
Man, bro, it's so much. And another thing I do want to point out and highlight, a lot of people don't know that my family and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan actually, you know, kind of went back before we moved to Chicago. So
Mm,
my mother actually used to take care of the minister's mother in Boston. I was born in
mm,
Boston, but
mm.
moved here when I was 4. And my father had been with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for, you know, before I was even here. You know, I'm
Yeah,
31. So, you know, but my mother, she worked at MUI. She was over the preschool and the elementary school. A lot of those graduations that were had, she had was over the music and the, you know, how it looked and things like that. And she was just a beautiful soul, beautiful spirit. It's so amazing. Now, as you said earlier, I'm in education, so I work for Chicago Public Schools,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
still run into children because after she left Muhammad University, she went to Chicago Public Schools. I still run into children who she actually taught, and it's so amazing, you know, that Muhammad name, you know, it rings through Chicago Public Schools and through
Praise be
just
to Allah.
everything that I do. And people just came to me and said, "Man, I just want to check on you. I just want to make sure you're okay. Your mother looked out for my child, and you know, she
Mm.
did so much." So, you know, just her beautiful spirit, and she just instilled in me, you know, that love, caring for people, you know, caring for people, wanting to do more, and that hard work, that work ethic as well. She was very driven. She woke up, you know, very early every morning. I would be like, oh my God, why is she waking me up, you know, this early? but just that love, that hard work, and that and doing for others, doing for others what you would want done for yourself. And she was a believer. I definitely would
Absolutely.
say that
Absolutely.
about my parents. They were believers, and she definitely instilled that in me as well. Just being a part of the nation, and her carrying her weight, and her carrying a love for my father and supporting my father for all those years. It just really showed me what a marriage is supposed to look like, and I definitely appreciate both of them for that.
Praise be to Allah. Well, can you tell us your favorite story of your any interactions with the Most High Mr. Farrakhan?
Honestly, bro, I would say this: anytime you meet him, it feels like the first time you met him, the first time you talked to him. I was blessed. The minister and some other brothers in the nation at the time, they'd actually named me, and
Mm-hmm.
I used to hear stories, and it was a picture that I had. I just was at one point I was just standing at his bedside, just staring at him. When I was very young, and that same effect he still has over me. We were at the farm a few years ago, and we were talking, and it was just like, man, I was just so amazed to just be in his presence. And if you were having a bad day or a rough time or anything like that, if you come around the spirit that's just around the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is just so beautiful. And I've seen now, with having friends who are not in the nation and all walks of life, the effect that, because growing up, the nation, it was the nation. That's pretty
Yeah.
much, those were your friends, those were your cousins, those were
Yeah.
your,
Yeah.
so we had family and things like that, but it was like it was the family of the nation. So you kind of think that everything is like that. And then when you get older, you kind of see that, whoa, hey, some people didn't grow up like this,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
see the effect that the nation has on the whole world, and the effect that the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan has on the whole world. So I think my favorite story is just being around him, just being able to be, around him, and sometimes seeing him and Mother Khadija interact. It was kind of so funny to me just to see them as husband and wife, because it's like, this is the minister, this is
Yeah.
mom,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
just seeing them interact with each other, it was amazing. It was amazing, and definitely great examples for us all.
Praise be to Allah. Well, I always ask all my guests about their favorite album of all time, but because you're an artist, you got to specify, your favorite rap album of all time.
Yeah,
What would be that?
definitely. I would
What?
say my favorite album of all time would probably have to be Blueprint, the Blueprint.
Okay.
I
Okay.
feel
Okay.
like from top to bottom, it was a well put together album. It's one album
Absolutely.
you could listen to, and every song is a good song, and just what Jay-Z was able to do with that album, I think is my favorite album. And I know some people are gonna go back a little bit further than that, but I'm 31, so don't charge it to my this is my that's my time, that's
Yeah. Yeah.
my time. And just piggybacking on, like, in your background, Thriller as well. I think
Yeah.
Thriller. So talking, like, hearing from Jay-Z in an interview, he said that the reason a Blueprint sounded like that is because he wanted to do an album that sounded like Thriller, that every
Mm.
song could be a single. And it just made so much sense to me as I listened to that album, and said, hey, that was a great way to look at
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
it.
Yeah. For
Definitely.
sure, and of course it's rapping, but the
Right.
production
The
just
production was
plays
amazing.
from the beginning,
From
to
the
the end.
beginning
You know what
to
I'm
the
saying?
end.
Yeah,
From the beginning. And then some of the songs, like my favorite song was Mama Loves Me, and that was
yeah,
a song that was like, it was kind of like on the back end, like it's just,
yeah,
got put
yeah,
on there,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
it was
yeah.
it was a great song. It was a great album. A great album.
And shit, my favorite song off the album is the Girls, 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 the
Oh,
remix though.
the remix, yeah,
The remix
yeah,
at the
yeah,
end.
the remix, yeah,
You gotta
yeah.
wait to the end to get the
Right,
remix.
yeah, 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 you do. Yep, he came back on that. Yep.
Okay. My thank you, Naima. My sister Naima says, "Some Lakin family." Somebody
What's
named
up?
Mill Gold says, "Yes, she was talking about your mother, and he didn't know that she did that in Boston." And thank you all for watching. Okay, my next question for you, Karriem, is the legacy of your father and your mother.
Mm.
Now I'm hearing some great news that it's going to be continued down another generation. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So I am expecting a son. I have a son that's due March 19th. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And my father has definitely been on top of me about getting Sultan in there somewhere. he's he's been on top of me about getting Sultan in there somewhere. And it's just it's really amazing, bro. And like you say, our me and you, we are so similar. And having great parents, our mothers and our fathers, and a lot of us who fathers are in the E team or laborers or anything like that. A lot of times our mothers and our fathers, have done so much because it takes so much, for a man to be able to do what they're able to do. It takes a honorable woman to be able to stand by his side and do that. And just the legacy of my father. I mean, I go so many places and it just, it feels cool. I don't, it's kind of hard to describe it to other people who are not in the nation, but when you go everywhere and everybody knows, oh, I'm Brother Sultan, son, you kind of there with some pride, and
Yeah.
the legacy and just everything he's instilled, in myself, and just passing that along to my son is just going to be, he's so excited, he's so excited. And just, and my one thing about my father is he's so knowledgeable. He's gonna definitely talk to you. If you haven't met my father, he's gonna talk. He's gonna talk, but he means well, and I had to really understand that he's trying to help, and even in him, like I said, my mother helping a lot of people, my father as well. It's so many people that have looked out for me because of my father, and so many people who open doors for me because of my father, and he's Mr. Fix It. I mean, I'll be sometimes, the middle of the night and trying to figure something out, and he's on top of it, he's on call. So just, I think the legacy of really having friends in all walks of life, I think that's one thing I really got from him. Really having friends in all walks of life, no matter what it is, no matter what you need, my father's able to come through. And with my mother, the education piece, that's one thing I really like to drive, the education. And my father as well, a lot of people don't know it. I don't know if he wants me to say this, but my father, he went to college at 17. He actually went to Dillard University at 17 years old. So he this is kind of funny too. He probably, I don't know how he's gonna feel about this, but he tells me all the time, he actually got kicked out of Dillard because of, they were basically a part of that revolution, during those times of, the fighting back. They had a lock-in, I believe. And they brought him up, trying to put him out and things like that. And my father, just, if you know my father, he's not, he don't take no wooden nickels, and this is before he was even in the nation. And he just tells me so many times about how that got him prepared for what he was able to do in the nation, because he was always asking questions. He always knew something was wrong. So, I mean, definitely with that, in that education piece with my mother and my father, I think making sure that my son is wise and that he knows everything. He knows what it is about growing up in the nation. He's very familiar with the teachings of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, and just making sure that that's passed along, that legacy of the knowledge of self and the education of self and who we are.
Praise be to Allah. Well, both of my sisters, Mimi and Naima, both say congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, and crew, this it's just, when you say, we so used to saying I'm proud of people who are older than us, or like other generations. But when you see one of your peers, man, somebody who won a drill competition with me, bro, man, I'm proud of you, bro. I'm telling you, man, my word is bond. So I'm rooting for you.
Thank you, bro.
I'm proud of you, and I'm happy.
Proud of you, bro.
And I'm happy to see the good things that you're doing. Yes, Are you praying for you? Because Chicago is always like rest in peace and crime going on in Chicago.
Yes, sir. Well, you already know Chicago is a tough.
I'm like, I wish Karriem could go coach damn Kentucky somewhere.
Right, man, we're talking about going to Dallas or Houston every other week, bro. Because it's, and I mean, and another thing with that, and I want to say as well, bro, I'm so proud of you, man. Like, I really seeing what you're doing, and I do want to take up directing as well and acting as well, and seeing what you've done with that, and really started that lane in these things. And I don't know if a lot of people realize at how young you were and how passionate you were. Like, this brother, I was the youngest one on the drill team, and I think it was you and a few other people lobby. I'm gonna be real. Everybody else on the drill team thought I was too young. I was the youngest one on there. But I was able to be a part of that, and we did win. I don't know if a lot of people know, we did win that drill competition, and it was a part where I messed up, and I was like, oh man, they're gonna be so mad. They're gonna be so mad, but we were able to still win. And just seeing that passion and that leadership that you had, I tell so many people about that, and I know that we all know the people who witnessed it and saw it firsthand. but I don't know if a lot of people outside of that know how much of a leader that you were at such a young
Praise be to
age.
Allah, man.
You know,
Praise be
such a
to
young
Allah.
age, that passion, and you know, you see it when you DI. I mean, it's still there. You know, I see it, and I'm like, man, you know, when you all went to Atlanta, I was like, oh man, Josh is gone. I can't believe it. It was, you know, it was like, man, LeBron went to the Lakers. Like, no, man, we had a good thing going.
Yeah, the good thing going.
Thing going, but it was just, man, I'm so proud of you as well, bro, and I
Praise be
really
to
do
Allah.
appreciate that. And you know, just speaking on Chicago, it's a lot of young brothers in the nation who are doing a lot of great things, and I do want to applaud them for that. You know,
Praise be to Allah.
brothers going Golden Child on his Instagram, Golden Child on his Instagram,
Yeah.
the New World, their whole following. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
he's been going in Parkway. You know, I don't know a lot of the viewers may, if anybody's heard anything about O Block or you know a lot of the violence and things like that, and about Parkway. These brothers are going into Parkway. Tyreek is going in there as well. You know,
Mm.
Minister Abdullah's son Tyreek has been in there.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Brothers,
yeah, yeah.
these brothers are helping, man, and their hands and the boots are in the streets, and I really do appreciate that as well. Because one thing I have noticed, you know, this Muhammad name is everywhere, and not only do we represent the nation, and not only do we represent the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan by what we do in the mosque, a lot of times our name speaks well in the streets. And that's one thing I love what you all have been doing in Atlanta. You know, it's so amazing. And which, you know, that same
Praise be
blueprint
to Allah.
that, you know, we're trying to do up here, making sure that our name, not just, you know, on Sundays, you know, but Sunday through Monday, these young brothers, they need, I mean, especially out here, you know, in Chicago. And it's just, and my father had to kind of see it for himself. You know, he's seeing some of the young guys and they like, Coach Muhammad, your son, and you know, it's different things like that. And you know, they get excited because they know the love. And you know, one thing about the streets, when you have that love and when you're genuine, they know, they can tell. So really, really inspired by that. And we need it. We need it in Chicago. We need all the help we can get.
Praise
Definitely.
be to Allah. Yeah, yes, sir. And Kareem, I didn't know you were going into directing into we gotta talk, we gotta discuss that
We
offline,
definitely
bro. We
gotta
gotta do
talk. We
something. We gotta do
definitely
some
gotta
work
talk.
together.
I know I talked briefly with Khalida about that. Khalida is doing her acting, and brother Mark, he's doing his
Yeah,
piece.
yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to kind of follow those footsteps. Ishmael, brother Dwayne's son, you know, I call him Mill. I don't know if he wants anybody, you know. I'll call, you know, we actually went to Grambling together. So he's going into that acting piece as well. And he's kind of been my mentor with a lot of
Mm.
things that I'm trying to do. And just been watching you from a distance, you know, with everything you were doing. But I definitely have to in D-Row, like he's man on a directing piece, like on the film and that the whole New
Yeah,
World
yeah, yeah,
camp,
yeah.
man. Those and you know, they always, you know, they always big bro me, man. But sometimes I got to big bro them, like, man, they're doing it. And I really, they really inspire me, bro. They really inspire me. And you know, honestly, you know, our shot, we were talking one time and I was kind of not doing the music. And you know, a conversation that we had kind of inspired me to get back in it and get back into it. Cause sometimes our talents, we limit ourselves and try to be in one box. And that's one thing that I'm trying to not do, you know, sometimes not just being Coach Muhammad, not just being, you know, Karriem Muhammad, and not just, but being able to be all of the things that I want to do. So that's something I'm definitely taking advantage of.
Praise be to Allah. Well, I'm definitely I don't know if I'm going to your Instagram right now. I'm like, we about to link up on all
Oh yeah,
kind
we
of levels.
definitely
All kind
have
of
to.
levels. We got work to do.
We definitely do, bro. We definitely do.
Well, I just want to say thank you again.
Man, thank you, bro.
Yeah, and I want to say, yeah.
I
Can you hear
gotta
me?
tell, I gotta get one of those books from Mimi too. If she's watching, I gotta get one of those ASAP.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
ASAP.
Yes, sir. Well, look, Kareem, I just want to let you know I love your family,
Love you
and I
too,
thank
bro. Love
Allah
your
for
family
your
too.
sacrifice and the
Yes,
sacrifice
sir.
of your family, bro.
What one more story I gotta say before we go, bro.
Yes,
I
sir.
remember I'll never forget this, and a lot of people know me now, you know, no Reem and no Kareem, and you know, it's who I am. But when I was younger, I wanted to see the movie Flubber. I'll never forget this. I wanted to see Flubber, and nobody wanted to go see that movie with me. Nobody at all, right? So my mother Josh is the only person who would take me to go see the movie. Not, I don't even think because he wanted to see it, but because he was willing to take his little brother to go do something that he never did. And that's something I would never, ever, ever forget, bro. And I
It's
always
all right.
appreciate how genuine you've been. I love your family, bro. You know, man, I look at us like being brothers. I always look
Absolutely.
like a big brother. And I appreciate you and appreciate your sacrifice and your family sacrifice and everything that you all continue to do, bro. I love you too, bro.
Yes, sir. We listen when I say we all we got, bro. We all we got,
Yes,
bro.
sir. Most definitely. Most definitely. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Well, thank everybody for watching. I'll put it on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, and anything that Karriem Muhammad is doing on the business end or on the music end, whatever we can do, we're gonna support you, bro.
Definitely, bro. I appreciate that, bro.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Please give your family greetings.
Yes, sir. Will do.
All right, something like that.
Wake song.